Hey guys, Emma here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel again. I can't believe that I'm here talking with you guys again. It's now been almost 5 years since I had my spinal fusion operation done in 2014. I didn't think that I would be here doing another video for you guys, but I felt like checking in just to give you guys an update and maybe answer some of the frequently asked questions that I've been getting on my previous videos. I guess 4 to 5 years on, I'm just living life as normal. I've had a lot of people ask me if, there are any limitations in my life that the surgery has created, and the answer is no, really. There are some things that are limited in terms of the exercise that I do. So as I mentioned to some of you in my previous videos, I can't do sit-ups anymore or crunches. I find it very hard when I'm sitting flat on the floor to be able to keep myself upright with my legs out, but I think a lot of that might be due to my flexibility issues that I have. But I guess as life has gone on, I've continued exercising at the gym between 3 to 4, sometimes 5 days a week. Since my last video, at the time I had just finished uni, studying social work. Well, I'm now 1.5 years into my first social work job, which has been a really wonderful experience, and I'm just so glad that I've been able to start my career and haven't had any limitations after my surgery in doing my job. I'm now actually engaged to my partner of about 6 years, and we'll be getting married next year, so looking forward to doing some wedding planning and all of that. Now with the surgery, the main thing is probably the scar on my back. I mentioned previously that I didn't really have any insecurities around the scar on my back, and that no one ever really makes comment about it or seems to look at it. There was one moment though where I did try on a wedding dress for the first time, which was a lower back, as I always thought that that's what I would see myself in, and I had totally forgotten that I had a scar on my back until I turned around in the mirror to have a look at the dress on me and remembered that I had a scar on my back. And at that point I did feel quite self-conscious about it and a little bit disappointed, but I don't want that to steer you guys away from having the surgery, because there are so many more benefits that outweigh having a permanent scar on your back. Most of the time I don't notice it, and other people don't either. There are obviously ways that it can be covered up as well, I guess, if need be. Some people have asked about the cost of the surgery. I don't remember the exact amount of how much it was, but I do know that it was very, very expensive. At the time when I had it done, I was still covered under my parents' health fund, but they were still out of pocket by quite a large amount, probably about 10,000 or so. So I imagine that the overall cost of the surgery would have been pretty expensive. I obviously live here in Australia, so had the surgery completed at a private hospital here in New South Wales by one of the top surgeons in the world, actually. I would recommend to keep using some sort of cream or oil on the scar to help in terms of how it heals and how it looks later on. I was using an oil to start with after I first had the surgery, but I didn't continue with it, which I feel a little bit disappointed about, because there's no use doing it now. It's not really going to make much of a difference, but I would highly recommend continuously using an oil, at least for the first year, probably while the scar is healing. The only thing that I would say after the surgery is that sometimes I do get pain usually in my shoulders or my upper back if I am sitting for long periods of time in an uncomfortable chair or something like that. I notice things a lot more now in terms of the type of chair that I'm sitting in that I didn't before. I guess before I was hunched over, so I wouldn't really notice, but now I really do need to be in a chair that's sitting very upright. I find it a lot of the time at work, because we're obviously sharing chairs and things like that, that people often find it quite strange when they go to sit on a chair that I've just adjusted, because it's sitting all the way up here like this, and most people like to lean back, but yeah, that's not an issue. I just adjust my chairs as needed, or get something that's appropriate for me. Other than that, I mean, it's hard to answer questions around how it impacts on playing sport, because I don't play sport myself. I only do exercise at the gym, or just walking and things like that. But from my memory, as the advice that was given from the surgeon, I'm pretty sure after 1 year of the spinal fusion being healed, that you could play full contact sports. So I mean, it shouldn't really be an issue. And yeah, I think that's about it. I would just like to say that obviously having the spinal fusion it's a really, really big surgery, one that I think requires a fair bit of research and consultation with a specialist, a spinal specialist. I would encourage you guys to really do your own research and talk with a doctor about the options to work out if it is the best thing for you, as I do know that sometimes there are other options, especially if you're younger, like wearing a brace and things like that. Because the surgery is not to be taken very lightly, and it is a very, very difficult recovery. As you would remember from the very first video I did, I explained that I was in a lot of pain after having that surgery. And especially that week when I was in hospital was quite excruciating. It's basically like you're learning to walk and to sit again for the first time. But yeah, overall it's just been such a wonderful journey, and I'm really happy with the decision I made to have this surgery done. Hope you guys are going well. Thanks for listening.